Have you ever wondered about the fate of those who played a key role in the crucifixion of Jesus Christ? Let's delve into the story beginning with the arrest of Jesus. This event is a critical turning point, occurring in the Garden of Gethsemane, an olive grove on the Mount of Olives. The one who played a pivotal role in this arrest was Judas Iscariot, one of the 12 disciples of Jesus. He had agreed to betray Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. Judas, knowing Jesus' usual place of prayer, led a detachment of soldiers and officials from the chief priests and Pharisees to the garden. In the darkness of the night, Judas identified Jesus with a kiss, marking him for arrest. Now, who were the masterminds behind this arrest? They were none other than Annas and Caiaphas, two high priests of Jerusalem. Annas, the father-in-law of Caiaphas, was a powerful figure in the city, having served as high priest earlier. Caiaphas, the current high priest, was known for his shrewdness and cunning. Together they were part of the Jewish religious authority, the Sanhedrin, which viewed Jesus as a threat to their power and influence. They sought a way to eliminate him, and the betrayal by Judas provided the perfect opportunity. When Jesus was arrested, he was not taken to a public court. Instead, he was brought before these religious authorities in a clandestine trial that flouted the legal norms of the time. It was a trial that was veiled in secrecy, occurring at night, contrary to the Jewish law that required trials to take place during the day. And so, under the cloak of darkness, Jesus was taken away, setting in motion a series of events that would change the course of history. The roles of Annas and Caiaphas in these events provide a stark reminder of the lengths to which people will go to protect their power and status. Their actions and subsequent fates serve as a chilling chapter in the narrative of the crucifixion. Join us as we continue to unravel this complex tale in the following scenes. From the garden, Jesus was led to Annas, a man of significant religious authority. This was a man who, even though he was no longer the high priest, still wielded considerable influence. His questions were sharp, probing, focused on Jesus' disciples and his teachings. It was a relentless interrogation designed to break Jesus, to make him confess to crimes he had not committed. But Jesus, steadfast and calm, answered each question with a tranquility that seemed to frustrate Annas. This wasn't just an interrogation, it was a clash of ideologies. On one side was Annas, representing the established religious order, desperate to maintain control. On the other, Jesus, a humble teacher whose radical teachings threatened to upend the status quo. But Annas couldn't break Jesus, couldn't find the answers he wanted. Unsatisfied, Annas sent Jesus to face his son-in-law, Caiaphas. The trial was just beginning, and the stakes were about to get even higher. Next, Jesus was brought before Caiaphas, the current high priest and a man of considerable influence. Caiaphas was a powerful figure in Jerusalem, known for his shrewd political maneuvering and his uncompromising approach to maintaining order. He was the one who would preside over this pivotal trial, a trial that would forever change the course of history. In the dimly lit chambers of Caiaphas's residence, Jesus was presented before the council of religious leaders. This was not a trial in the way we understand it today. There were no defense attorneys, no jury of peers, no presumption of innocence. Instead, it was a gathering of men steeped in religious tradition, eager to preserve their power and authority. The council was desperate for evidence against Jesus, and they sought false testimonies to support their cause. Numerous witnesses came forward, their words twisted and manipulated, painting a distorted picture of Jesus' teachings. Despite the inconsistencies and contradictions in these testimonies, the council clung to their accusations, determined to rid themselves of this perceived threat. The climax of the trial came when Caiaphas himself stepped forward, looking directly at Jesus. "Are you the Messiah, the Son of God?" he asked, his voice echoing in the silent room. Jesus replied affirmatively, stating, "I am, and you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the Mighty One and coming on the clouds of heaven." This was the moment Caiaphas and the council had been waiting for. They accused Jesus of blasphemy, a crime punishable by death, according to their laws. The room filled with an uproar, the relief of the council palpable. They had their evidence, their justification, they had their verdict. With a unanimous decision, the council condemned Jesus to death. The trial before Caiaphas had ended, setting in motion a chain of events that would culminate in one of the most significant moments in human history. Unable to execute their sentence, the Jewish leaders took Jesus to Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor. Here we find ourselves at an intersection of power, religion, and politics, where the fate of one man would alter the course of history. Pilate, a man known for his shrewdness and political acumen, was presented with a dilemma. The Jewish leaders accused Jesus of claiming to be a king, a direct affront to Roman authority. However, after questioning Jesus, Pilate found no basis for these charges. He saw before him not a political insurgent, but a man whose kingdom was not of this world. In an attempt to absolve himself of the situation, Pilate offered the crowd a choice. It was customary during the Passover festival to release a prisoner chosen by the crowd. Pilate presented Jesus, a man he deemed innocent, and Barabbas, a notorious insurrectionist and murderer. The choice seemed clear, or so Pilate thought, but the crowd, manipulated by the chief priests and elders, chose Barabbas. The voice of the mob roared for the release of a criminal and the crucifixion of an innocent man. The irony of this choice is not lost in the annals of history. The one who came to liberate humanity was condemned, while a man imprisoned for rebellion was set free. Pilate, surprised and cornered, asked the crowd, "What then shall I do with Jesus, who is called the Messiah?" The response was a chilling, unified cry, "Crucify him!" Despite his reservations, Pilate succumbed to the pressure. He washed his hands before the crowd, symbolically distancing himself from the impending fate of Jesus. In the end, Pilate yielded to the crowd's demands, and Jesus was handed over to be crucified. This moment marked a turning point, a decision that would resonate through time, a testament to the complexities of power, the sway of public opinion, and the enduring legacy of a man named Jesus. Jesus was then led away to Golgotha, a place of death. In the chilling air of early morning, he was subjected to the brutal Roman practice of scourging. His body bore the marks of cruelty, an innocent man condemned. Annas and Caiaphas, the high priests, were among the crowd that day, their faces etched with a mix of satisfaction and unease. They had achieved their aim. The man who challenged their authority, who stirred the people with talk of a heavenly kingdom, was now nailed to a cross, a spectacle of agony and humiliation. As Jesus hung on the cross, the sky darkened ominously. It was midday, but it seemed as though night had fallen. An eerie silence descended on Golgotha, interrupted only by the labored breaths of Jesus and the two criminals crucified alongside him. The crowd watched in awe and fear. What was happening? Was this a sign? Suddenly the ground trembled violently. The mighty temple, the heart of Jewish religious life, was shaken to its core. The veil of the temple, a thick curtain separating the Holy of Holies from the rest of the temple, was torn in two from top to bottom. This was no ordinary event. The veil represented the barrier between God and man, and its tearing signified a new covenant, a new relationship between the divine and the human. As these supernatural occurrences unfolded, Jesus uttered his final words, "It is finished." And with that, he gave up his spirit. The world held its breath. The Messiah, the Son of God, had breathed his last. The earth shook, the heavens wept, and the world was left forever changed. Annas and Caiaphas, witnessing these events, could not have comprehended the magnitude of what had just transpired. They had sought to eliminate a threat, but in doing so, they had played a part in a divine drama that would reshape history and humanity. As Jesus breathed his last, the world was left forever changed, and so we close the chapter on the crucifixion and death of Jesus Christ, a pivotal event that continues to reverberate through the ages. But what became of Annas and Caiaphas, the men who orchestrated this horrific event? Well, the narrative does not end with the crucifixion of Jesus. These two influential figures who played pivotal roles in one of the most significant events in human history also met their own gruesome ends. Annas, the cunning former high priest, and his son-in-law Caiaphas were not spared from the harsh realities of their time. According to historical accounts, Annas was assassinated in a violent rebellion that swept through Jerusalem, a rebellion fueled by the very religious tensions he had once exploited. Caiaphas, on the other hand, did not escape the political upheaval that followed. He was stripped of his high priesthood and banished by the Roman authorities, only to die in obscurity and disgrace. These chilling ends begged the question of whether justice in its own way had been served. In the end, they too met a gruesome fate, a chilling testament to the roles they played in this pivotal moment in history.